Why you can't focus anymore. Have you ever sat down to work on something important, only to check your phone a few minutes later? Then your email. Then social media. Then maybe a video. Before you know it, an hour has passed, and you've barely started. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people feel like their attention span is getting worse. They struggle to read for long periods. They find it difficult to study. Even watching a movie without checking their phone can feel challenging. So what's happening? Are people simply becoming less disciplined? Or is something else going on? Research suggests the problem isn't a lack of intelligence. And it's not necessarily a lack of motivation. The real issue is that modern life is competing for your attention in ways the human brain was never designed to handle. To understand why focus feels so difficult today, we need to understand how attention works. Your brain has limited mental resources. At any given moment, countless sights, sounds, thoughts, and sensations are competing for processing. Attention acts like a filter. It decides what deserves mental resources and what gets ignored. This system evolved to help humans survive. Thousands of years ago, paying attention to sudden movement in the bushes could mean the difference between life and death. As a result, the brain became highly sensitive to anything new, unexpected, or potentially rewarding. And that's where modern technology enters the picture. Every notification, every message, every headline, every social media update, is designed to capture attention. Many digital platforms compete directly for one thing, your focus. The longer they keep your attention, the more valuable you become to advertisers. Because of this, many apps are built around psychological principles that encourage repeated engagement. One of the most powerful mechanisms involves dopamine. Dopamine is often called the reward chemical, but that's not entirely accurate. Its primary role is motivation and anticipation. Your brain releases dopamine when it expects something potentially rewarding. This is why refreshing a social media feed can feel compelling. You never know what you'll find next. A funny video. A message. A surprising update. The uncertainty itself becomes rewarding. Psychologists call this a variable reward system. And it's one of the most effective ways to keep people engaged. The problem is that every interruption carries a hidden cost. Many people believe they can switch attention quickly between tasks. But research suggests otherwise. When you move from one task to another, your brain doesn't instantly reset. Part of your attention remains attached to the previous activity. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as attention residue. Imagine trying to read a book. Then checking your phone. Then returning to the book. Then responding to a message. Then returning again. Your brain is constantly shifting gears. Each switch consumes mental energy. Over time, focus becomes fragmented. You may spend hours working without ever reaching a state of deep concentration. This leads to another important concept. Deep work. Deep work refers to periods of uninterrupted concentration on a cognitively demanding task. During these periods, the brain can process information more effectively. Learning improves. Creativity increases. Productivity often rises dramatically. But deep work requires something increasingly rare, sustained attention. And sustained attention becomes difficult when interruptions are constantly available. Even the presence of a smartphone can affect concentration. Several studies have found that people often perform worse on attention-related tasks when their phone is nearby, even if they never use it. Part of the brain remains aware of the possibility of interruption. Over time, frequent distractions can train the brain to expect constant stimulation. When every spare moment is filled with scrolling, notifications, or entertainment, stillness begins to feel uncomfortable. A difficult task may seem boring by comparison. A textbook can't compete with an endless stream of personalized content. A work project can't compete with instant rewards. As a result, many people find themselves seeking stimulation whenever effort becomes uncomfortable. Not because they're lazy, but because their brains have learned to expect immediate rewards. The good news is that attention can be strengthened. Just like a muscle, focus improves through practice. One effective strategy is reducing unnecessary distractions. Turning off non-essential notifications can dramatically decrease interruptions. Another strategy is creating dedicated periods for focused work. Even 20 to 30 minutes of uninterrupted concentration can be valuable. You can also make difficult tasks easier to start. Instead of committing to 2 hours of work, commit to 5 minutes. Getting started is often the hardest part. Finally, give your brain opportunities to be bored. Moments without stimulation help retrain attention. When you're constantly consuming information, your brain never gets a chance to recover. Silence and stillness are not wasted time. They're part of the process. In the end, the reason you can't focus anymore isn't because you're incapable. It's because your attention is being pulled in dozens of different directions every day. Modern technology has created an environment optimized for distraction. But understanding how attention works gives you an advantage. Because once you understand the problem, you can begin to design your environment differently. And in a world full of distractions, the ability to focus may become one of the most valuable skills you can develop. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Better by Science for more evidence-based insights into psychology, habits, and productivity. And remember, your attention shapes your life. Be careful where you spend it.